Good evening and welcome back to the Soaring Show. As always, we'll cover gliding news, do a weekend forecast and speak to an interesting person in gliding. This week it's Amelia Richardson. First up, a small announcement. I loved all of your guest suggestions this week, and going forwards I want to keep you involved in the process. So we're going to ramp down the videos. You will still get an episode every week, but only one interview every other week. This will give us a week to collect your guest proposals and a week to collect your questions for the selected guest. Back to the news. Sebastian Cava and Sebastian Lampard have had their first flight over K2. I believe the flight took place as we were recording last week's show, so apologies for the delay. We'll blame Cava and his team for not factoring our show in their schedule. They're all still out there exploring the Himalayas and posting some epic footage. I also noticed they have a documentary filmmaker with them, so maybe we have a film to look forward to. This weekend, the Hosbos Challenge Cup is starting and the Junior Worlds are ending. We were hoping to speak to the British team, but the workload is very high, so we'll wait till they are back. You have until Wednesday to take advantage of the LXNav LX9000 deal. After Wednesday, they go back to full price, so if you're in the market, get your orders in as soon as you can. We are still on the lookout for a new member of the Navboys team. It's a great place to work and would suit anyone semi-tech literate and most importantly interested in gliding. You don't need to know anything about UDIs, LX9000s or transponders, as we have Jake for that. On top of that, Congleton is a beautiful area and the shop is based within walking distance of several pubs. If you're aware of something interesting, funny or useful happening in the gliding world, then please get in touch and let us know. We'd love to share it. Now over to Jake with the weather.
Thank you, Dorian. Let's get into it. So, looking at the Met Office surface pressure charts, this is midday UTC on Friday. So we've got a nice cold front that's gone through overnight, and then going into Saturday, it looks like a similar air mass to Friday, but a risk, you can see this trough line and this small occluded front coming in from the west. So there's going to be quite a bit of instability in the air, potentially a risk for showers, but we'll look at that later. And then going into Sunday, this high pressure starts to dominate and come in from the southwest, which will hopefully give us slightly more settled conditions. Let's take a look. So, BBC weather, I've chosen Hosbos because it's kind of right bang in the middle of all the good weather this weekend. Saturday, looking bright, cloudy, showing risk of rain later on. That sort of lines up with what we've seen. And then Sunday, looking a little bit nicer, a little bit brighter, but both days look generally pretty good on the Noddy forecast. Let's just compare that to Met Office. Cross-reference, yeah, all looks very similar. Winds generally, surface winds, light west-southwesterly, and even lighter southwesterly on Sunday. Okay, sky sight. Let's zoom out a bit. So this is potential flight distance for Saturday, and as you can see, the vast majority of England and South Wales is looking pretty good. South Island's looking good, and North Scotland looking good. And let's just take a very quick look at XC speed. So starting at 10 AM, it looks like much of the country, down in England at least, is getting going quite early. 10:30, 11 AM, it's already looking like good conditions, and it looks like it tends to keep going, breaking up in the afternoon in places, so you need to be careful with where you're returning from. But in the good bits, it's going on until 5 PM and later. So this is Saturday. It looks pretty good on Saturday. Let's just have a quick look at the risk of rain. So those trough lines that we saw on the surface pressure chart, you can see it's bringing in quite a lot of rain from the west. So this will be probably a dominating feature for the Saturday, making sure that you don't get caught out on the wrong side of one of these showers. And a very, very quick look at the wind. Light west-southwest across much of the UK, building perhaps as the day goes on and those trough features move in. Okay, and a quick look at Sunday. PFD for Sunday, looking slightly better in places. More of England looks good, Ireland looks great, and again northern Scotland looks okay. And this time we'll look at thermal strength. So it sort of looks like it gets going from 11, and looking at decent thermals, 4.5 knots it says in the good bits, these green areas. In these turquoisey areas, 3.5 knots. So pretty good thermals going on across much of the country until 5:30 starts to drop off. And let's have a look at cloud base. So Q cloud base, this is midday. Looking a little bit bluer, so you can see these grey areas that suggest that there should be wisps. Where the Q is good, under these yellow areas, you're looking at 4,000, 5,000 feet plus. The green areas, you're looking at 4,000 feet, and the grey areas, 4,000 feet wisps. Later in the day, getting much better. You can see these orange and reds. These reds, you're looking at 7,000 feet over the Welsh mountains here, which looks pretty good. And even in the middle of the country, around sort of Husbos area, looking at 6,000 feet plus later on Sunday. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of fun this weekend. Let's have a look at Dave Maston's forecast. He's saying Friday is looking good. Saturday, good for a fast 300 to 500. If they can avoid the trough, you might be able to do something bigger. Keep an eye out on that forecast for Sunday. Sid's weather, he's saying for Saturday, possible short XC for the Nymphsfield area. And then looking at Phil's weather brief for Dunstable, he's saying Saturday's looking reasonable, some overdevelopment. Sunday's looking bluer. So yeah, everything's looking positive for the weekend. So hopefully you guys can get out there. And then finally, just looking at Clement Allen's webcams around the country. Just really looking, this is obviously on Friday, looks good on Friday morning, and then windy tends to be what I use in the morning to just keep track. I'd be looking at this to keep track of the movement of those troughs tomorrow on Saturday. Okay, thanks very much. I'll pass back to Dorian. Cheers.
Thanks, Jake. Remember, if you want to support us, then subscribe, like, and share. Which episode has been your favourite? Let me know in the comments below. Now, here's a snippet from our interview with Amelia Richardson. At just 17, she's already a gliding instructor, holds a TMG, and is starting her PPL training. Just to top it all off, she's got nearly 100,000 followers on her Instagram account, which she uses to promote our sport. You said you started flying in Bicester. How did you find out about gliding in the first place?
My dad actually grew up next to RAF Holton, and he always had gliders going over the top of his head. But a year prior to me starting gliding, I had a flight in a powered aircraft. But when you put a propeller in front, the price just goes up tenfold. I mean, yes, it's cool because you can go from A to B without landing in a field, but it also hurts for every flight you do. That was awesome. That was sort of the make or break point to see if I actually wanted to fly as a career, if I loved it or hated it. And I came back running ear to ear, and he was like, right, she wants to do this. And of course, you can't get a PPL till you're 17. We can go solo at 16. And he suddenly had a little brainwave, like gliding. Knew nothing about it. Went onto the BGA website and booked me an introductory flight for my 13th birthday, and took a tow up to 2,000 foot on my first flight, and I was hooked straight away. And I was like, right, I'm going to do this. And I guess 4.5 years later, here I am.
That sounds like a very familiar story. I was in the same boat where I wanted to fly forever. A PPO was completely out of reach. I joined the Air Cadets, had a first flight with them, realized I'm never going to get another flight with them because they fly so rarely. And then, found out about gliding. I was like, oh, this is doable. But I was 15, I'm like you, so I started a few years later. But I wonder how many people go through that process of they want to fly, they realize that flying is atrociously expensive and just give up there. And then the rest of us find out about gliding. I find it quite interesting that then you went and actually started doing power flying, because my plan always was do gliding, then do my TMG, then do a PPL. But once I learned how to fly and started doing power flying, I found power flying a bit boring and just never did it.
Yeah, I know what you mean from that perspective. So because my aspiration is to become a flight instructor as a career, or become a military air crew, so a pilot or a whiz-op or something. I just needed to explore as many options as possible, and I've been quite lucky. I've had a few scholarships to help support my powered flying, because social media doesn't pay me anything because I'm not old enough, and I get a lot of brands wanting to collaborate with me but aren't offering anything in return. So it's a two-way street, if you know what I mean. Social media is a really weird game. So I can't get any money from Instagram for what I do, so that doesn't fund much of my flying. But then I became a part-time lifeguard to help fund my gliding.
That's how I did it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm actually working this evening, and then I'm off to Cambridge tomorrow to start my PPL. So I went from gliding, and I was volunteering as a gliding instructor at Motorglide last year, doing trial lessons. That was fantastic. It was, 5-6 flights a day, up, down, all the time. I loved it because I had 3 months off for the summer, and I was gliding 5 days a week. It was like ticking my box because it was the first summer after GCSEs. And I was like, right, just need to do everything and anything. And I loved it. And then, of course, Motorglide had Motorgliders too. And I applied for the self-launching Motorglider scholarship from the Air League. It's £500 towards getting a TMG rating. After working from basically June to August every weekend, because I was gliding during the week, I saved up about £1,000 to put towards my TMG rating. So that let me do my TMG rating, my FERTOL, and get my Class 2 medical and that kind of stuff. And that was a real gateway into the powered flying world. I still fly the Motorglider a lot. Probably my plan is, once I turn 18, is to get my towing rating in the Motorglider, because I love to explore the other options gliding offers. I love instructing, and probably once I turn 18 too, I'll do my ASCAT rating too, because I love giving back to gliding and the aviation community firsthand and through social media. And then going on to my PPL, I know this was a bit of a shot in the dark, I will admit. I put in several applications for PPL scholarships and hour building scholarships, but absolutely nothing. No. Every single one I applied for, 3 years running. And it was painful. It was like, a stab in the heart every time one came in. It was like, oh, just apply for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And nothing was going. And then I put in this application for this PPL scholarship, and I suddenly got an email, oh, you've progressed through to the next round. I was like, okay, might not go anywhere, none of the others have. And next thing I know, I had been slotted down to the final 5. I mean, I did spend several hours on the application, it's not easy. And then I had an interview and a flight test, and great thing about being a glider pilot and a powered pilot is you're so much more spatially aware than other people are. So, I'm monitoring the lookout. I'm also on the radio. I'm also, you're doing so much more than a powered pilot would be. And I was awarded a 15 grand scholarship for my PPL at the start of this year. Of course, I couldn't start till the summer because I can't really take 6 weeks off in the middle of my A-levels. I've got 6 weeks of this summer flying rounded little Cessna 152s, and then at the weekends I'm going to be gliding. So it's going to be awesome. Very excited.
That's a great summer. I'm very jealous. I didn't go that far with it. Again, you have an interest in social media and filming, which is a bit similar to what I was doing. I found out my passion for filming at the same time as I found my passion for flying. So I've always had sort of a camera around me. So a bit like you, I did the Worlds, doing some filming there. I've done some Europeans. It is fascinating seeing those pilots at the level they're operating. But you said the same as me. I used to get absolutely nothing back from doing the videos, and you're saying you're doing nothing from social media. So why do it? Why bother doing it?
It's my passion. As you had, I didn't really have a lot of people to mentor me as I was going through, COVID and stuff. And, being quite new to the sport, I didn't really know anyone. So my dad originally started my social media for my mountain biking. I was doing prior to starting gliding. I've always had that adrenaline junkie box ticked. And then sort of just started sharing random videos of me, and then once I became old enough, I then took over the social media and then started just filming random stuff. So here's a glider launching, here's a video of me in it, it's just, sharing what I got up to at weekends. And, it was, 500 followers to start off with, and then one video in particular of me just flying on some training at the Grantston Regionals in 2021. Just a video of me, and show some gaggle flying, and hey, look at this is absolutely bonkers, because I'd never experienced it before. And suddenly it got 500 likes, then 1,000 likes, and that's sort of 90,000 views, and it just shot my followers up to about 1,000 followers. And then it's just sort of trickled upwards over the past couple of years, and I just sharing what I love doing, sharing videos of me just being crazy and riding golf buggies around the field, and just having a great time. And people were just like, oh my god, I can fly an airplane with no engine, and at 14. And it just kept going up to 10,000 followers, then 20, then 30, and so on. And then recently it hit 70, and that's where the followers started to level off a bit. And then one of my videos went bonkers. I mean, like, predicting the algorithm on Instagram is crazy. You can't. That's the thing. Everyone's like, I'll follow trends. You can't, because they vary so much. And it randomly started off at 10,000 likes. Okay, that's pretty good. And then suddenly it got 3.5 million views and about 400,000 likes. And it was literally a video I made in 5 minutes, filmed on my iPhone, of me going up a winch launch in the Aster. And people were like, yeah, just started following me, and that pushed me up to about 80,000. And then just posted random stuff, random videos, and it's gone up to about 97-ish thousand followers now. It's going up as we speak, so I'm so close to 100,000 followers, which is awesome.
Did you talk in those videos, the ones that went viral? Did you actually speak in them? Could people
No, it was literally a 5 minute, it literally took me 5 minutes to make, put on a random song, because I don't want to hear me talking. I don't like doing like voiceovers and stuff. I don't like listening to myself speak because I sound a bit weird, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they just went bonkers. They're pinned to my profile, and I will admit, I still don't know how it went mad, even though, like, I don't, just a teenager flying an airplane around, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but it must seem like a big deal to others. And it's awesome, and I'm so glad that I get, routine messages up to sort of 5 or 10 a day asking people, hey, I live in Europe, how can I start gliding? Because I want to be a pilot, but I don't know how. And that's the whole reason I do my Instagram. Of course, I don't get paid for it. I just love doing it. I love sharing the awesome world of aviation to people, because it's given so much to me. I can't list how many things it's given to me, and I just love doing it. I wish more people would see that. I've just recently started on TikTok in the past sort of year. I'm not sure about that platform. There's a little bit too much jealousy on it.
It's great to hear that, because this is a drum I've been banging for years and years and years, that we need to show gliding on social media, because that's how people find it out. I don't think there's enough information out there, and the information that's out there is so hard to understand and take in. It's all written in gibberish and pilot talk and acronyms, and it's impossible to understand for someone who doesn't know anything about it. I mean, even as something as simple as talking about TikTok and videos blowing up. I posted a TikTok some time ago of me landing in a field. Everyone immediately assumed it was a crash. So that blew up because people thought it was a crash. How did you crash? We've got videos of the crash. It's like, no, it's just a safe landing, but people don't get it. And as you say, the jealousy is like, good for some. It's like, no, it isn't.
Yeah. I don't post a lot on TikTok because of the jealousy. It's not nice. It's not a nice environment. But, saying that, it's nice to have a message from someone saying, just had my first gliding flight, I'm hooked. Thank you for sharing your adventures with me, because it got me to start gliding. It's that little feeling inside that goes, right, I've done a thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I exactly what I mean, because again, it's something that I've been very passionate about actually showing people what gliding is, and you've done an amazing job of showing it. And then, so final question for you then, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, look, thank you for just letting me do this interview. I know social media is an amazing world. I wish more people would see that, because it definitely is an instrumental tool in sharing what you do and what a sport can do. But yeah, thank you. And I hope people have seen my love for what I do.